George Washington stamps are worth money from 1851 to 1867. The 24-cent US dollar stamp, 1860, depicts the face of the first President of the United States of America, George Washington, when they issued the first postage stamps in the world. To separate the pieces from each other, you had to use scissors to cut and use them. Subsequently, stamps were printed with perforations on the sides in order to allow the end user to separate one stamp from another without cutting it and without the risk of it tearing. This stamp issued in 1860. It was among the first drilled specimens. Around the face, you will see the writing post, followed by the nominal value of the piece. 24 cents of the US dollar lilac gray postage stamp had a circulation of 736,000 copies and is worth $1,500 in the philatelic market. The 1860 90-cent US dollar stamp. It is considered among the most beautiful classic stamps ever. So much so that it is included in the top 10 of the 100 greatest American stamps. Postage stamp used for sending letters and parcels over 2,500 miles to foreign countries. It was a very expensive piece compared to today's times. It cost $140 and has become a collector's item over time. You will be able to see the portrait of George Washington in the general's uniform, engraved on a portrait of Trumbull, former governor of Connecticut in the 18th century. He was an artist and deployed to Washington's army as his second adjutant. Blue stamp was issued in 25,000 pieces and is worth $3,500. The 1861 90-cent US dollar stamp. It was the highest cut in the evening of Civil War issues of 1861 and 1862. This piece was used a lot for mailing letters abroad, to treat and exchange information in the political and military fields. It was a very important stamp. In 1861, when 11 southern states left the Union, the Postal Service's suspended service in the South. Despite this choice could have a strategic sense. Many of these stamps were located in the secessionist territories, and a black market was formed to sell them north, actually providing money to the Southern Confederate states. This black market of philately, it ended when new series of stamps were issued. Blue stamp was issued in 388,000 copies and is worth €4,000. The 1867 US 10-cent stamp. It is part of another series dedicated to George Washington, considered one of the founding fathers of the United States of America. This piece differs thanks to the technique of grilling the stamps. Thanks to a pressure technique, the stamp managed to break the paper fibers, allowing the ink to penetrate deeply into the paper. This method made it difficult to reuse the stamps. Method visible only by flipping the stamp. On the back, grills can be heard by lightly sliding a finger across the surface. The United States of America. They were the first country to issue grilled postage stamps. Until 1870. Under the bust, you will be able to see the nominal value reported in letters. 10 cents of the US dollar. On the side, the value returned to number. Green stamp. 1.5 million copies were issued, and it's worth $5,000. The 1851 US 12-cent postage stamp. It was issued for sending letters traveling over 3,000 miles. Indeed, in 1851, Congress reduced postal rates, effectively eliminating distance as a factor, and creating the need for new tariffs and customs. This stamp, unlike the other pieces, required advance payment. With this method, the post office could record and track valuable letters. Above the bust, the inscription Post of the United States. Down, the face value of 12 cents. Black stamp that had a circulation of 2.5 million copies. Worth $6,000. The 1855 US 10-cent stamp. It was used for distances exceeding 3,000 miles. Commonly used mold and similar in other pieces as well. This series from 1855. It was printed in green ink using a single plate. The design is engraved on the mold. A small piece of flat steel is copied onto a transfer roll. A white roll of steel You will see the face of President George Washington engraved on it. Up on the sides, the letter X, which indicates the nominal value of the Roman numeral piece. Down, the inscription 10 cents. Green stamp issued in 200,000 copies. Today it is worth $15,000. The 24-cent US dollar stamp, 1861. It is part of that series of stamps printed in 1861 and ended up in the sale of the black market. When following the Civil War of 1861, it was ordered by the Post Office to suspend postal service between the Southern Confederate states, who had decided to leave the Union. The Confederates, worried that the federal government used the postal system to spread anti-Southern propaganda, they set up their own postal service. Above the bust of George Washington, the numbers 24, which indicate the nominal value of the piece, 24 cents of the US dollar. Down, the value reported in letters. Postage stamp issued in a few hundred units. Today it is worth $60,000 on the philatelic market.